And we are back live from the show floor here in beautiful Barcelona, MWC 2015. Good morning, Christian Morales, General Manager and VP of Intel EMEA.
Good morning.
Good to see you again. It's been a while, since CeBIT last year.
Since Hanover, now we are south to Barcelona, absolutely.
We're just making our way around, right?
Yes, yes. Welcome to Barcelona. It's great to have you here.
Quite exciting times for you guys right now. You've had a huge announcement yesterday. The new Intel Atom series, the X series. Can I say that? Not the X-Files, the X series.
Absolutely. So we have announced the the Atom X3 processor, Atom X5, Atom X7 processors. Those are for entry-level smartphones and also for tablets and two-in-ones. So we are very excited because with this we can reach additional audiences out there who want to be connected to the internet, who want to have a great experience, not only in phones but in also getting access to rich content. And those products will just allow new products to be announced and during the year, and we will be accessing those audiences and we will have them having those experiences with those products.
And this is also the very first 14 nanometer.
And it is absolutely the first 14 nanometers one, which means that from a performance standpoint, from an energy efficiency standpoint, battery life, it's going to be a major improvement from the previous generation, including the great improvement on graphics, which is also always very important for users.
That's the 8th generation that you're getting in there,
right?
Of your Intel IGP. So what's really interesting here is just to look back at the history of Atom. I think it started in 2008. The very first netbook came out with the Intel Atom N270 and then the N280. And now what happened in 7 years is just also a little bit of a statement of what was happening with Intel in mobile. Right? And now you are getting design wins with companies like ASUS that are completely committed to Intel and getting all your latest SoCs and chipsets into their smartphones. This must be really exciting for you guys.
What was exciting with Atom at the beginning is that we came up with a new, and together with ASUS at that time and some of the companies.
The EPC at that time.
Yes, we came up with those netbooks, which were very small form factors devices to access the internet, and it was a great experience for users. Now we are in the tablets, we're in the two-in-ones, and we also have adding the voice and everything you need and the modem that you need to obviously to make phone calls. We also have it for smartphones. And so this is the X families that we have announced. And together with it, we have been announcing a lot of other products so that not only we can bring those devices to the users, but also the experience, because this is about the internet, the growth of the internet, and it's about everything that goes from the cloud to the smallest devices in the world. And as you can see here on this booth, we have even wearables, which are very small devices. And everything has got to be compatible, and you need to have security, and you need to have infrastructure so that the users have a great experience.
Plus, due to the fact that you're, of course, using an x86 architecture, you're the only company on the market that is able to deliver an Android and a full Windows experience for their platforms.
We certainly differentiate from the fact that we support all the operating systems, and we can also provide from the smallest device on Earth to the most complex data center or cloud infrastructure. And we do all this with certainly the best or among the best security value propositions we can think of in this world.
You know what's really interesting is during your press conference, you also had some slides up where you were just talking about price ranges for the upcoming device. It's already starting at $119. I think this is really where you're going to enable, let's say, we were always talking about how to enable the next 2 billion people and get connected devices into their hands, but it starts there. It starts at these low price, but at around $100 already.
Yeah, what is important, and it's not only in emerging markets, because we always talk about emerging markets, but even in mature markets, people who have a budget, which is what it is, right? You need to be able to address all the audiences, and this means that we can do devices now sub $100 equivalent or 100 euros. And this goes up then to any kind of sophistication of or level of experience you want to have. But you can have access to the architectures and devices designed around those architectures in 2 digits of prices, meaning less than $100 to start with.
Yeah, and once again, to see how Atom evolved over the time. I remember the very first generation, and a lot of people were complaining at this because we were still in this desktop PC bubble, right, of these huge, powerful machines, and out of a sudden, you started to have this kind of entry-level CPU, and we had to get used to this, good enough performance, right? That was completely new. But right now, if I compare the recent Atom for this, I have an Asus ebook with a Bay Trail in there, and I can do 1080p rendering, right, in 2.5 times the real-time speed, which is absolutely amazing on a SoC that consumes like 5 watt max. That is just crazy.
Yeah, the technology as a Moore's law has really enabled us to bring architectures to the marketplace, which where you don't have to compromise on performance, and you can have a great experience, even if it's a very, very entry-level kind of product. So obviously then you have the whole choice of how much experience you want to have, how much performance, how much battery life, how much graphics. But you don't have to compromise in the value segment because of that, and you can afford devices that really give you a great experience.
In general, when we're looking at your product line, even beyond Atom, like last year we were talking about Core M, and now you also have the 5th generation. I'm actually using the 5th generation of the Core i here in this beautiful Dell, which is still my absolute favorite device right now. This is the best laptop I've ever had, and we did a pre-recording with Neil Hand from Dell yesterday, and we were talking about this. I said, you know what, you really nailed it. I have like 10 hours of battery life. This is 1.18 kilograms.
Yeah, no, it's impressive, absolutely impressive.
And you have this, Dell calls it the infinity display. So they squeezed a 13.3-inch screen into an 11.6-inch device, which is absolutely amazing. I love this machine. To see how this evolved, right? I know we also have all kinds of different Intel Atoms, right? And we're not only talking about consumers, when we're going into the Internet of Things and embedded and IPCs. And then we have Core M, and now we have the 5th generation of Atom, of the Core i. To see the performance gain of the Intel Atom, and to see how much performance we can carry around with us, and also how competitive you are right now with your latest generation. This must be great times for you guys, because, like where you started 3 years ago, especially when it comes to tablets and smartphones, and where you are right now, this is like so competitive.
Yeah, definitely. Last year we said we wanted to be contributing much more to the tablet segment. We said we will take a goal of shipping over 40 million units tablets to the marketplace. And obviously, when we said this in January 2014, it looked like a very, very ambitious goal. But we did beat that goal. So we have now over 40 million people in the world from 2014 who have access to this technology on tablets. And our aim is to keep on growing with the marketplace and keep on innovating or out-innovating the marketplace with our ecosystem, so that we keep on bringing great experiences to the users. And I want to add something which is maybe absolutely unique to Intel, which is the interface with the devices. So here you have this great device. Soon you will have, or if you don't have it already, the voice interface with it. Yeah. You will have the perceptual computing, natural interface kind of gestures you're going to have with a device like we are having right now talking together. Yeah. And you will have this not only on the notebook but also on the tablets and other devices. So this is also one area of innovation that we are bringing, which is absolutely unique.
That's a good point. The RealSense technology that you've introduced, and especially when you started this, because Nicole and me, we were judges during the Ultimate Coder Challenge for the perceptual computing. And at that time, you were showing how we're going to interact with the computer of the future, especially after we were using an input system that is over 100 years old, which is the keyboard.
That's right.
So what's the next step? And with RealSense technology, you've already mentioned this, gestures, eye tracking, voice, right? Touch is still, of course, a huge part of this. It's all coming together. And you're also using this for the Intel Atom X series.
Absolutely. The RealSense technology, the camera, is something we started 4 years ago. We said we really need the next generation cameras that don't exist today on the marketplace. So we did put a team to work on this together with the ecosystem, and we came out with this great experience that we can bring to the users. And And this goes into any kind of application, into the notebooks, into the tablets, it's going to go into the smartphones, it's going into the drones, Internet of Things.
Yeah.
There are just so many applications that will benefit from this technology now, because you can just develop today experiences that you could not before, thanks to this technology.
Yeah. If you want to experience this already, what RealSense technology can do, there's a Dell tablet available. They started to ship it in January. This is the thinnest tablet on the market, and it's already using the 3D camera on the back. It just gives you an amazing experience, especially, you know what, if you want to still refocus again on a picture that you already took. Right? It was just amazing, and he was showing this for the very first time during IDF back in September, and we were absolutely blown away. But now this is coming to the entry-level platform. So am I going to see this in upcoming smartphones?
Well, this is, we're not making an announcement today, but you're going to see those technologies going into more and more devices in the future. And the Dell tablet you mentioned, there are things you can do. For example, you want to fit up this room here, you don't have to take a meter and go around and understand, you know, the dimensions of the room. You can do it directly with applications you have in that tablet, and that are powered and are made possible because of the RealSense technology.
Yeah. So does this also mean that the latest Intel Atom, especially when we're talking about the X3, could also, I know that now we're talking about smartphones and tablets, but because of these capabilities, this could also be something that go into the Internet of Things? Or is it still meant to be for Edison and all of these platforms?
Well, it is starting in the products you just mentioned, but it's going to go into more and more products in the future when the integration capabilities allow us to do so.
Yeah.
And we took RealSense. We also made an incredible announcement yesterday, which is the new generation of LTE modems, which are also very important, with up to 450 megabit per second, download capabilities, which just allow you to have this, great connectivity experience with rich content. And this is part of the whole kind of innovations you need to have around the devices. So from the CPUs to the input-output to the graphics, to the cameras, to the modems, and added to this the security, which is also very important for users.
That's a really interesting point you brought up, because sometimes I thought in the past we were constantly developing SoCs. They got faster and faster, the cameras got better and better, but somehow we were missing the support of the network and the infrastructure for this. Now with your latest LTE modem, which is also supporting Cat6, like you're offering the bandwidth to actually really use the content that I'm creating on my smartphone. Because right now we're talking about, when we're looking at smartphones, there are about 300 to 400 million smartphones getting sold each and every year that are capable of shooting 4K videos. And you don't want to upload 4K through a 3G network. That might be a problem.
Absolutely, that's a great point. And as we see the exponential growth of rich content being uploaded into the internet infrastructure, you need to make sure that you have enough technology to not have bottlenecks of communication.
Right.
Particularly at a time where the world is moving faster and faster into mobility. There is still a lot of desktops out there and people who want to have a huge amount of performance in desktops for very specific applications. But in general, the world is moving to mobility, which means that you need to have this infrastructure that supports this trend. And this is why, for example, we are also announcing the software-defined networks for the telecommunication equipment manufacturers and telecommunication service providers, because you need to be able to support this exponential growth of the internet content, if you wish.
And once again, I would love to go back to the RealSense technology. What I think is really interesting about this is what companies and developers will be able to create with this in the future. Even with a smartphone, I'm just thinking of being able to scan objects right away, because we're talking about 3D cameras, capability of 3D, of catching 3D images. There's just so many options. It was already like 2 or 3 years ago at IDF. You've had a huge display of a virtual shoe shop with a 3D camera. I could scan my feet and could make sure that I have just the perfectly made shoes for me. And this will be possible from a smartphone that costs about $200 in the future. And I think that's absolutely amazing.
Every aspect of the economical activity today, be it in the manufacturing, be it in transportation, be it in education, in government services, everything is digitalizing, and this digitalization is accelerating. We have never seen such an acceleration of innovation taking place, and not only innovation per se, but also scaling this innovation so that more and more people can have access to it in a faster way.
Yeah.
So the time frame between the introduction of a new innovation and the time for people, even in the most remote places of the world, to have access to it has just shortened dramatically. But this is also because the young generation of people, the people who are born connected, or even if they are not born connected, but they are born with this mindset of being connected because they see other people who are connected. They want to be connected, then they get connected, and they participate to this worldwide innovation treadmill, if I may say, or trends that we see. And you just mentioned 4K, which means you're going to have much, incredible capability of video content, of graphics content. You're going to have interactive content, which is going to be another big trend. And all this is made possible because of so much technology being available for people, technologies that allows you to create this very, very sophisticated content, this collaboration that exists around the world between teams from different cultures, different languages who work together, cooperate together on certain aspects. So you're going to see a major transformation in everything that is around us. And we didn't mention areas like healthcare, where it's going to be yet another huge, huge transformation in the years to come, thanks to this technology and this cooperation taking place around the world, and this innovative spirit that the new generations are bringing.
There was a very interesting point you brought up when I mentioned the price ranges before, and how we're going to connect the next billion people or 2 billion people that you were referring to. We constantly used to say emerging markets, right? But there's also a huge market for these entry-level devices and those low price points on the Western markets, like in Europe or in North America. With Intel Atom, and also together with your partners, you've been one of the early pioneers for these markets, especially as a premium brand, right? When I think about CES 2014, when you announced the Zenfone series with Asus, no one could believe that the entry-level one was $99. And this really steered up the competition on the market. And I think it's very important to enable also to get, let's say, flagship devices into the hands of users that couldn't afford the traditional flagship device for 5, 6, 7. Phones are going up to $1,000 right now.
Absolutely. No, and again, there will be audiences who want those kind of phones. So you're going to have audiences for any kind of price point. I remember in 2013 we launched a phone in Kenya at that time, a smartphone at a very, very low triple digits, $100 and a few dollars smartphone, with great capabilities, and it was it just got so much more innovation on smartphones because of this introduction. And as you rightly said, people want to have more technology, better experiences, and if they can have better affordability, even better for them. So this is what we can afford with a Moore's law, which means that we can keep on improving as a technology and also improving the affordability of those devices. And the whole ecosystem has been innovating and progressing quite well too on the value proposition of devices brought to the marketplace.
Right. And the performance is there now for x86, which is also interesting to see. Once again, I'm referring to the last CES to see your latest chipsets, and also, of course, now with X3. When you started on this market, people were a little bit concerned about, first of all, the performance, the power consumption, and of course, especially regarding Android, the compatibility. And you just nailed it in 3 years.
Yeah, this was a lot of work because we had to work with the ecosystem. We did a lot of work on software and solutions so that together with the ecosystem, we could just bring great experiences to the users, stable applications, and people will have access to most of the applications they want to have to, and in a native mode, so that it's really application with a great experience for them. And also because this application environment is so dynamic. There are so many more applications being introduced on a daily basis in the world. Yeah. So it was very important that there was a solid platform there that will allow people to design and produce applications on a platform that will be sustained going forward.
And talking about software, later this day, or I think tomorrow, we also have Doug Fisher here from the software group. So it's going to be really interesting to talk to him about the challenges that they've had to get Android perfectly running on x86, because you have no more compatibility issues whatsoever. It just happened now.
Absolutely, Doug and the team have done a fabulous job.
Oh
there.
yeah, yes. That was a huge challenge. I'm sure about this. Once again, let's just go back to the X series to see what kind of features you got right now onto an entry-level platform. Features that we were in the past kind of expecting, from the high-end silicon that you are shipping. It's not only about the wheel sense technology, you have TrueKey in there, and also the Pro Wide-Eye. So this is all about creating this wireless experience here.
Yeah, as soon as we can afford to, because what we usually do is that we introduce new innovations on the premium segment and on the premium segment and on the mainstream segment. But as soon as we can, we also put it in the value segment. And this is what we have done with those platforms. So people can have access to it. You don't have the same level of performance as the high end of the product range, but you have enough experience already for people who want these kind of devices in those price ranges.
Yeah. I'm talking about Wide-Eye. Whenever I travel, the biggest problem, even all these nice hotel chains right now, you have these little docking stations with all the I/O ports in there. You have HDMI and VGA and whatnot, but I never take the cables with me, and I think it's so annoying that I just can't lie down on the bed and just connect my notebook or my laptop to the big screen. And now with Wide-Eye, we're going to make it possible.
No, absolutely. And when you travel a lot around the world, you see how many plug converters you need to carry with you, plus the weight of the cables and the battery chargers and so on and so forth. And we're going to go into an environment of no cables in the future. And we are seeing a tremendous traction and interest from large industries, hotel chains that you just mentioned, but also furniture manufacturers, a lot of people who are interested in bringing those experiences to their customers, because this is going to be an inflection point in terms of how you get to recharge and you get connected with your devices, and you will not have to carry that much around. You mentioned this very thin and light notebook, but if you have to bring a kilogram of accessories together with it, it's not a great compromise. So that's why we absolutely want to bring this experience to the users as fast as it is possible.
And I always forget at least one cradle, one docking station, or one important cable before I'm leaving. And I'm on the road now for 4 weeks, so this is always a little bit of a challenge. Actually, also interesting because we're going to have Kirk in here later, and then we're going to talk about wireless charging, which is also a very, very interesting technology that you've been really pushing over the last years.
Yes, we're working very closely with the ecosystem to drive it, and you're going to see more and more products that will come with those features.
And again, I think also with hotel chains.
Yes.
I think you're working something out with Marriott, which is my preferred one. So I'm really looking.
We're working with a lot of companies around the world just to make this, to get this experience to the users as fast as it is possible.
Yeah, this is great. So in general, what's the next big thing for you guys? I mean, you just announced the next big thing for the Intel Atom series. But what are you really excited about?
Well, the 5th generation core. We are really proud of this product line. We said 3-4 years ago we wanted to reinvent the PC. It's really being reinvented. And this is also why we saw the PC market growing again last year, and we see so much traction in mobility. There is just so much innovation going on there and so much to come. And as I said earlier, this interface, natural interface with those devices is going to be a game changer. It's going to be a major inflection point. Yeah. Then the no cables, no wires, all those kind of things that are coming are yet additional innovations that will come up. You are going to see also new versions of software coming up and operating systems in the forthcoming quarter. So all those innovations will just make the experience with those devices much better for the users. And also, it's going to make it more affordable for a lot of audiences around the world who want to have access to it and cannot have access to it today because it's not affordable, or the technology is not ready there, or the infrastructure is not ready. So we are working with the ecosystem to make this possible. So this is really exciting.
Yeah, I like that because I still remember these talks that we've had and discussions about the PC industry. Oh, the PC is dead. It's only mobile in the future. I mean, this is a mobile device, right? And actually, I moved back to a desktop 18 months ago in the office because I was just tired to make compromise. Now I have a desktop with 3 screens and with a Core i7 in there and 16 gigs of RAM and fast SSDs. And it's great. Life is too short to wait for anything. While this one is just perfect for me on the go. While my phablet or my smartphone is just for a different use case. I think it's about creating seamless experiences in between the different platforms.
Well, even in desktop, you see today you have desktops which have the shape of this table here.
Yeah.
Very flat. You can play games on it. You can do a lot of things you could not do before. Yeah. I look at, for example, this man, François Gabard, who did win the world around the world race in solo. Before, he had 25 kilograms of equipment, electronic equipment. Now he can do it with 2 nukes. Next unit of computing, which is like it can fit in the hand. So you have one that is connected and one as a backup if you need it, and that's it. So you can save another 20 kilograms of weight, for example, for the whole electronic infrastructure. And we see those kind of evolutions taking place all over the place because it's just a tremendous innovation taking place also on desktops.
And we haven't even touched wearables.
And we haven't touched wearable, which is every large company, small, medium companies is thinking about something on wearables. Is it devices, the way you're going to be connected? Will you have some kind of connection on your clothes, on watch, on and a bracelet, whatever is it going to be, glasses, hearings, whatever. And there is just so much work going on this research and development around the world. A lot of creators working on this. We have some here. You saw a motorbike here, a very nice motorbike in our booth, where you can have this connection from your helmet to the motorbike and have information or do things you will not be doing before because you have now this kind of connectivity. And it's a kind of wearables if you wish. We will also have gloves that have some technology into it. So those are new things that are coming to the marketplace, and we will see how it evolves. But there will definitely be a lot of applications and experiences behind this.
You really described something or a phrase that my favorite CEO in this industry, which is Johnny Shih from ASUS, phrased about 6-7 years ago. He was talking for the very first time about the seamless experience all over different platforms. And I think this is what it's all about. And you're creating an environment for this. I think you have strong OEMs to support you guys. And I just can't wait what's coming up next. Christian, thank you so much for your time. We are going to have a little break, and then we're going to be back in about 5 minutes. And then we have Kirk Scogan over here, and we're going to talk about wireless charging and what's up with this technology in the future for Intel.